Welcome, ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Thursday, the 26th of October. Good to have you aboard. We're part of the Believe Podcast Network and presented as always by Anidjar and Levine, accident attorneys, 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733, the best personal injury lawyers around. Whatever kind of injury you're dealing with. It could be from a motorcycle accident, a boating accident, hit and run, slip and fall. Anidjar and Levine, accident attorneys. You're thinking, hey, what's it like to work with Anidjar and Levine? Well, they're going to talk to the insurance company for you. They're going to schedule your appointments. They're going to keep you updated throughout the entire case. They're going to answer every question that you possibly have. Anidjar and Levine, accident attorneys, 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733. And this week, hey, the last of the major pro sports league have kicked off their new season. Bet Online is your top spot for all your NBA action. That's right. With MLB postseason, NFL, college football, NHL in full swing, Bet Online is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions. Get everything NBA at your fingertips with both desktop and mobile access for every sport anytime. Head to the BetOnline website today to get in on the action. Don't forget, use promo code BELIEVE, B-L-E-A-V, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Got a fun show planned for everybody today. It is Thursday. We got Thursday Night Football. Week 8 gets going tonight. Bucks at Bills. So this is a game that the Dolphin fan is interested in tonight. Is it possible? After the Patriots did the Dolphins a solid last week and beaten the Bills, what kind of performance are you going to get from Buffalo tonight? You're going to have the Bucks. We're rooting for Tampa Bay. Can Buffalo drop to 4-4? I don't think that's what's going to wind up happening, but it's short week. Who the hell knows? So we're dialed in. We're interested in what's going on tonight. Bucks and Bills. We're going to have Jamie Eisenberg, CBS Sports Fantasy Football. You know he joins us every Thursday. We'll get you caught up on who to start, who to sit, and all that good stuff. Tyreek Hill, he missed practice yesterday for the Dolphins, but Jalen Ramsey looks like he's getting close. Could Jalen Ramsey be debuting this weekend for your Miami Dolphins? We'll talk to Jamie Eisenberg about all that good stuff that's going on. The Panthers are not back in action until Saturday. Today, we're also going to get you caught up on everything going on in the NBA. Zach Harper, he's going to join us. We're going to talk about all the games from last night. The league tipped off a couple nights ago. We always enjoy having Zach on. You hear him on Sirius XM, NBA Radio, Mad Dog Radio, Meadowlark Media. They do the Cinephobe. We'll talk a little bit on movies with him. So Zach Harper will join us. We had a ton of NBA action last night, including your favorite little basketball team, the Miami Heat, 1-0 to start the season. Look, you're not going to get me to sit here and tell you, you're not going to get me to be critical of a 1-point win over Detroit. If the Heat had a 1-point win over Detroit in January, maybe I'm going to say like, man, we just slipped past Detroit. We had a 19-point lead early in the fourth quarter, and we barely hang on. No, not going to do that opening night. Not going to do that at the start of the season. I'm excited to see my favorite little basketball team back in action. And that's what you got last night, and you got a win. So you're not going to have me sitting here being all kinds of critical about getting a win to start the season. I'm very pleased with what took place last night. Now, tomorrow in Boston, that's going to be a different story. If the Heat don't win in Boston, I hate that shit. I hate the Celtics, all right? But last night, opening night, I don't care how they get it done. I don't care that they won ugly. I love an ugly win. Win that shit in the mud. I don't care. You guys know I like that type of basketball. Doesn't have to be like that every night, but every now and then, give me an ugly game. I'm here for it, man. So you're not going to have me getting all upset about the... Now, look, here's the thing. In today's NBA, you guys know the way this works, all right? In today's NBA, you get out to a big lead. The other team always comes back. That's what happens with the pace of the game now and the three-point shooting. But here's the thing. The Heat never relinquished the lead. They never gave it up. Cade Cunningham hit a three-pointer with about a minute and a half left, I think it was. Maybe close to 2 minutes, which made it 103-102. He were up 103-95, I think, after a Jimmy basket. Cunningham, who, by the way, see, I think the Pistons are going to be vastly improved from last year. I think the Pistons could be a play-in team, not a play-off team. I think they could be a play-in team. And mainly because of who you saw last night, Cade Cunningham, he's the real deal. He took over that game in the fourth quarter down the stretch. He was awesome. Cunningham had 30 points, 9 assists. He was 13 of 27 from the floor. He really struggled shooting in the second half because there was one point in the game, I think he was 9 for 11 at one point. So then the rest of the way, we're talking 4 of 16. But overall, Cunningham was awesome. He cut the lead to 103-102. And believe it or not, the last 90 seconds to it, you had no scoring. So the Heat hang on 103-102. And it's funny because I'm sitting there watching with my wife. I'm watching with my older son. We're watching the game in the ZASLOW Mansion family room. I got a Johnny Cuba in my hand. You know how I would like to enjoy the game and drink responsibly. And I'm sitting back on the couch. I'm like, I'm sunk into the couch, heading to that final possession where the Pistons are going to inbound the ball with, 2-something seconds remaining. And my wife's like, what, you're not into it? Like, she expected me on the edge of the couch, leaning in. And I said to her, I go, listen, only something terrible can happen right now. Nothing good can happen. Only something really terrible. So I'm watching it from this vantage point over here, and I got my fingers crossed. And I think all Heat fans, myself included, probably thought that shot was going in. And Jimmy did an excellent job avoiding the contact. So once he got Jimmy in the air, thought he was going to make contact, but Jimmy was actually sliding to the right. Jimmy does a great job avoiding the contact. The shot from Cunningham was actually nowhere close, and the Heat hang on. Never actually gave up the lead. So, they had a huge lead, and then they blew. Well, the reason they never gave up the lead is because they had that huge lead. So, today's NBA, you go up by double figures, and the lead, gets whittled down all the time. The key is, are you going to give up the lead? And they never did. Now, there's a bunch of things. There's a few things I think to feel good about from last night. There are a few things that you don't feel good about from last night. I think everybody knows the direction I'm going to go in there. I think it's the direction that everybody else is going in as well. But all I care about, the Heat win last night, get off to a good start. That's all I care about. I love ugly wins. I like when the game's tight down the stretch. Like my father sent me a text last night, ugly win. All right, I love ugly wins. Give me more ugly wins. I love it. I love it. So, one thing I want to point out is they closed the game. So, Kevin Love specifically in the starting lineup, and I talked to Evan Cohen, ESPN Radio, unsportsmanlike, who's a huge Heat fan, and I talked to him yesterday, and I was like, how do you start the game? Am I supposed to believe that this team is going to start Lowry and Kevin Love? Well, Evan's right, or at least I thought he's right, where they're more like token starts. Last night, though, those guys both finished the game. Your closing lineup, I don't think you ever saw that last year once Love joined the team, where their closing lineup was the same as their starting lineup. And I think a lot of Heat fans like, how does that happen? Well, when the team is healthy, there is no chance that the closing lineup is the same as what last night's starting lineup was. This team isn't healthy right now. Caleb Martin on a minutes restriction. Jaime Jaquez Jr. on a minutes restriction. Josh Richardson out. Haywood Highsmith out. Closing the game, I want Highsmith in the game. He could defend. He'll hit an open three. I would also say I like the idea of Richardson being in the game as well, but for sure, I want Highsmith, and I probably also want Caleb Martin. Like a closing lineup, Hero, Butler, Martin, Highsmith, Adebayo, that lineup will defend. You got the ball in Hero's hands, you got the ball in Butler's hands, Bam could do his thing, and you have 4 great defenders out there in Butler, Adebayo, Martin, Highsmith. That's the closing lineup I would hope we're going to see. But right now, you have a team that, just like, that's why I don't care that it was a close game against the Pistons. That's why I don't care that they only won by 1. Get these wins here early on, start to get used to each other, build up the type of rotation that you're looking for, and get healthy. And then everything's going to be fine. So I'm not going to sit here and poo-poo, oh my God, they only beat the Pistons by 1. Not even close. I'm very pleased with how that game went down last night. Let me give you a few things that I was into, all right? Number 1, Jaime Jaquez Jr. So Jaquez Jr. only played 13 minutes. He was 3 of 3, 6 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. He played in 2 separate spurts in the first half and the second half. He does not look like a rookie. Just looks like a guy who's going to be a pain in the ass to play against. The same way that Tyler Hero, and I told you guys this about Tyler in Summer League, he is far more advanced than most rookies. Tyler Hero did not look like a rookie, but that's because of the talent. That's because of how great a player he is. Jaime Jaquez Jr. doesn't look like a rookie in the sense of he just looks ready to play. Looks like a solid player, 22 years old, so he's got a lot of collegiate experience and looks like a professional out there. The footwork, excellent. Who knew he could handle the ball like that as well? Defensively, got a couple steals. He just looks like a guy who other teams are going to hate playing against. And you know whose footwork? I said this in the one preseason game he played. You know what his footwork looks like? You know who he looks like out there down in the post? Jimmy Butler. He looks like Jimmy. He's got excellent footwork and just looks like a guy who fits. Loved what I saw from Jaquez Jr. Kevin Love. I liked what I saw from Kevin Love too. Last night looked like a much better version of Kevin Love than the guy we saw here last year. And my guess is because, he's fresh. They've been off the last few months. I would imagine the early part of this season, you're going to get a much better looking Kevin Love than you got last year. And then we'll probably get to a place in the season where he doesn't play a ton and kind of refresh him and break him out again later in the season. But this early part of the year, I think leaning a little bit on Love is a good idea. He looks fresh. He had the great look for 3 on the Heat's last offensive possession. He was down on himself, man, would have iced the game. And so Love had 13 points and 10 rebounds last night. He knocked down, 3 threes? 3 for 6 from 3. So excellent job by Kevin Love. And Thomas Bryant. Like, when Evan Cohen was saying, who are the guys you think are going to be in the rotation all year long? Thomas Bryant was one of the guys I mentioned. Bryant played 16 minutes off the bench last night. And I don't think the way that we complain about the Zeller minutes, the way that we complain about the Dedmon minutes, I don't know that we're going to get that with Thomas Bryant. He was tough. He is physical. He is active. 8 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Got to the free throw line, 4 for 5 from the free throw line. I loved what I saw from Thomas Bryant. And now, what you didn't like, right? Now, before I tell you what I didn't like, you know I always love telling you about Sheets and Giggles, all right? One of our favorite sponsors here, Sheets and Giggles. Go to sheetsgiggles.com where you're going to sleep like a baby. You're going to sleep just like the ZASLOW family. Because when you go to sheetsgiggles.com, you're getting the softest, coolest, most breathable sheets you've ever had in your life. Is that something you'd be interested in? What if I told you you could also get 20% off at checkout? All you got to do is use promo code ZASLOW, ZASLOW, 20% off checkout at your first order at sheetsgiggles.com. Support the sponsors that support the show, and that's how we keep this baby going round and round. With Sheets and Giggles, get the best sleep of your life with their irresistibly soft eucalyptus sheets. You're going to sleep cool and comfortable all night long, and just like the ZASLOWs, you're going to become one of over 100,000 Americans who are sleeping on Sheets and Giggles and never turning back. Your wife, your husband, whatever you got going on, I don't know what you got going on personally, but that person you're sleeping with, they're gonna be like, oh my God, These are the most comfortable, softest, coolest, most breathable sheets ever. And you got 20% off by using the code ZASLOW at checkout. Oh my God, I love you so much. That's what's going to happen when you go to sheetsgiggles.com. Sheets and Giggles, sheetsgiggles.com. Use promo code ZASLOW. So, things that I didn't like from last game. And, I didn't want to tweet this out last night because, excuse me, I don't want to be negative. The Heat won last night. I feel good about it. I'm happy. 1-0. Let's go. Going into a big game tomorrow night already at the Boston Celtics. Celtics home opener. They won in New York last night. All right, it's a national TV, ESPN. Tough environment. I want to feel good about last night. I got to see my favorite little basketball team on the court again. You know I'm happy about that. I'm not going to start with the negative bullshit. But then, of course, predictably, I get the tweets about Kyle Lowry. Obviously, I'm going to get into it here on ZASLOW Show 2.0. I didn't want to get into it last night, right after the game. Here's the easiest way I could describe what happened last night. Kyle Lowry played 32 minutes. He was 0 for 1. He had 2 assists and 2 rebounds. No points. The easiest way that I could tell you my thoughts about Kyle Lowry is I just don't know that there's a way you could tell me that this is a contender if he's your starting point guard. I mean, I'm supposed to believe, and Spo talked about this over the last several days, right? I mean, shit, Kyle Lowry, I expect to start. I expect to be a starting point guard. And Spo's telling us also, look, Lowry's in a great place. Feels really good. He's looking as fresh as he's been since he's been with the team. And I'm supposed to believe, after hearing all of that, that's the performance we got last night? He was a nothing. Just after all he's in a great place, he feels good, I expect to start. He threw out probably the most worthless performance since joining the team 3 seasons ago. This is fine for right now, especially while the team is not healthy. But Kyle Lowry cannot be your starting point guard if you're a championship contending team. After just one game, that is so painfully obvious. We got a really good performance out of Kevin Love last night. He's fresh. You should get that type of performance out of him. Where was that from Lowry? If you're not going to get a good version out of Lowry at the beginning of the season when he's totally fresh, when are you going to get it? He was a bum last night. He's a bum. I don't know any other way to put it. And like I said, I didn't want to get into it last night because I just wanted to feel good about the game. But what the hell was that? You don't need a point guard, like an actual point guard. You don't need a point guard if that's what you're getting last night. And, I mean, not even close to looking to shoot the ball. Not even looking near the rim when he gets it. It's immediately, let's swing the ball. You can't be on the penalty kill every time you have the ball when Kyle Lowry is in the game. You can't give the other team a power play every time Kyle Lowry is in the game. That is not a starting point guard in the NBA. I don't care how savvy you want to say a player is. If you're a starting point guard, you play 32 minutes, you had 0 points, you were 0 for 1, and starting point guard, you had 2 assists. That is not an NBA starting point guard. There's no other way to spin it. Like, what are we doing rolling him out there? And you can't tell me you're not going to get more from Josh Richardson. You can't. I think Josh Richardson's going to give you a lot. You can't tell me you're not going to get more from Josh Richardson. And here's the thing. So he's not shooting at all the entire game. When the Heat had the ball, it was a 1-point game now after Cunningham hit the 3. The Heat are coming out of a timeout. You knew Lowry was going to shoot it. You did. He's dribbling the ball. He's got that high screen from Bam. You knew now was when he was going to shoot. So it could be this whole thing. no, I'm unselfish, but I'm Kyle Lowry at the end of the game, and I could still take and make the big shot. You knew that's when he was going to choose to shoot. He hasn't taken a single shot. And now with the game on the line, not Bam, not Jimmy, not Tyler Hero. No, Kyle Lowry is now going to take his first shot of the game with the game on the line and throws up an air ball. I mean, it clangs off the backboard. I guess that's not technically an air ball. Just chucks it off the backboard. He is a bum. Terrible. And it sucks. Like I'm happy with them winning last night, but already the start of the season, I got to settle in that I have to watch this guy. Terrible. He is not a starting player in the NBA anymore. You're out there for 32 minutes. You're the point guard, and you have 2 assists. So it's not like he's leading the team. He's setting everybody up. You're out there for 32 minutes. You have 2 assists. I mean, you can't rationalize it. You can't, I don't get it. I don't get it. The team will get healthy. Richardson will get going. Highsmith will get going. Caleb Martin will be able to play more. Jaquez Jr. as well. Your starting backcourt, it should be Hero and Butler. Then you got Martin, Love, Adebayo. You got enough ball handlers. Between Hero, Butler, Bam, you don't need a conventional point guard. And if you do, throw Josh Richardson out there. Give me someone who will take some shots, who will hit an open 3. It's not like Lowry defends anymore. He's awful on that side of the floor. Richardson will defend. So one of the things, obviously, I was not into last night was 32 minutes of Kyle Lowry. And the other thing I wasn't into last night, Nikola Jovic, DMP. Now, I say that where it's not like, Spo, why didn't you play him? No. I'm disappointed that Nikola Jovic is clearly not in a place yet where he could play. I mean, Jaime Jaquez Jr. played 1 preseason game, the first preseason game. He's a rookie, and Spo gave him 13 minutes, and he looked great. Jovic is in his 2nd year, played a big role on the Serbian national team. Can't get any run. From what I've seen in the preseason, he doesn't look ready to me. Doesn't look like a guy who's ready. So I don't blame Spo for not playing him. And that part sucks. Like he doesn't seem like a player who's ready right now. So that part's really disappointing. But overall, yeah, I'm happy. I know you want to tweet at me, ZASLOW, what about Kyle Lowry? Yeah, he sucks. But I didn't want last night. Like I didn't want to give the energy to that. Obviously, we have to talk about it. I'm looking forward to Richardson and Highsmith becoming available and a whole lot less of Kyle Lowry. He is not a starting player. He is not a player on a championship team. He's not. So tomorrow night, the Heat in Boston. All right, let's get after it. And oh my God, they looked really good. We'll talk to Zach Harper about that for sure. All right.